Welcome to the show, Golf Sickos. It's major week. It's major championship week. It's a beautiful day. We're coming off a signature event. Seb Straka wins the Truist. Ben and I are both headed to Charlotte right after the show.
That's right.
I'm joined as always by you ready for this one? Right hand.
Oh.
But I didn't have my right hand yet.
I'm getting more important every week.
Except for I missed you yesterday during the watch along. We talked about that off air. We're good. We're friends. We're good. We're back. We're totally fine.
We're back.
We got a big show. Really, really big show today. We're recapping a signature event and we're previewing a major championship. So we're going to preview Quail Hollow hole by hole with Scott Fawcett. Very similar to what we did for the Masters. We're going to get our best bets from Rick Gaiman. A set of 10 bets for the week. We usually do 3. We're doing 10 for major week. We're going to answer your questions with Alan Shipnuck. We're going to blind rank golf swings. You and Andy have cooked something up for us. But I'm going to start with a take. I'm going to hit the honesty button. I'm going to see if the boys in the control room are dialed in. I'm giving them a lot of rolling. Ready? Here's the honesty button. I'm feeling very takey today, very idea-y, and I've got an idea. There is no yearly golf tournament in the Northeast. That's the stupidest fucking thing that I've ever heard in my life. It's so silly. It's so simple. It's like the best sports market, right? The Northeast. I'm talking about Philly, New York, really those two places. And there's no golf tournament in Chicago this year either,
too, yeah.
which is a joke. You got people from, it's very drivable. At Philly Cricket, there are people from New Jersey. You can come down from New York if you want to. There's amazing golf courses, and there's so much business. So I'm going to look directly at the camera for this one. If you are a business and you are based in New York or Philadelphia, and there are a lot, sponsor a PGA Tour event. Your branding is New York's PGA Tour event or Philadelphia's PGA Tour event. You move it around every year. There's so many different golf courses. You do a little mini rotation. There's your idea. There'll be huge crowds. The players will love it. The TV numbers will love it. It's just certain things are so right in front of you. So I'm looking at the 27 million different businesses that have an office or a presence in New York. Sponsor a PGA Tour event. It's New York's PGA Tour event or the Tri-State Area's PGA Tour event. Or if you're in Philly, it's Philly's PGA Tour event. You do a little rotating. There's enough courses in the area. I was afraid about Philly cricket. I was afraid that it was going to get destroyed. I was 100% wrong. And I put my hand up and say I was 1,000,000% wrong. All it needed was a little bit of weather, and it was awesome.
It turned out great. Signature event, Acton signature.
It was a signature event. The winning score was not crazy. I thought it was going to be. And it feels so right in front of the PGA Tour to have an event in the Northeast on these amazing classic golf courses every single year.
What if they did a Northeast, like Tillinghast? It was all the Tillies from up there.
You could throw in another
Quaker in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like there's so many courses. It would be so fun. All the different ones would want to host once. It's only once a year, so it's not every year, right? Mm-hmm. It's a hard sell to these private clubs to host an event every single year, just because the members don't want to lose it. It's a short enough season already. Once every 5 years, one of these amazing old style courses gets to host an event. Feels like an absolute no-brainer. So I was dead wrong about Philly cricket, and I'm happy to have been dead wrong. So basically early in the week, we were there for the Creator Classic. We were there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I thought they were going to shoot 0. And I thought they were going to shoot 0 after Thursday when a lot of the guys did shoot 0. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's just, Rory was talking about this early in the week. These old classic courses that have been renovated, they've mostly taken out all the trees that have grown over like 100 years. And he said the strategy is just hit driver everywhere and then figure it out. There's not really any trees like bordering the fairways. Very wide corridors. The fairways themselves are pretty wide and pretty soft. I just thought the course didn't have any defense. All it needed was a little bit of weather. There was a little bit of rain on Friday. It got a little windy. And the pins on Sunday were fantastic. Right on the top of these little knolls that don't really exist in modern golf courses. I was super wrong about it. Philly cricket, I thought, was one of the stars of the week.
I don't think Rory was wrong about the strategy, but you do have to hit the fairway. That rough is no joke to begin with after a little bit of rain.
And also the way that the pins were, because the greens are so undulating, they're on little shelves. Mm-hmm. Like I'm thinking about 16. I think there was one on 11, 12. They're on these little shelves right on the top, and so you have to control spin. It's just a really good design. So Philly cricket was one of the main stars of the show. The other main star of the show was Seb Straka. And another honesty button. We're going hot and heavy earlier today. I'm really happy that I have this outlet to speak on, where I have a microphone in front of me instead of just like posting on Instagram, because there are certain things that you can say that if you posted them on Instagram, it's just a little bit different, right? It gets taken out. I've said this before. The human voice is the most highly skilled communicative device known to man. It's evolved over literally millions of years. There's no tone on an Instagram post. So I'm going to say this, and again, it's going to sound okay when I say it if I were to write it and post it. And maybe I did. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe I did post it and then get rid of it. I don't know. I can't remember. All this talk about how fit golfers are these days, and I'm not saying that those two guys don't work out. I know for a fact that they do. But they're not exactly, central midfielders as far as physical fitness goes. I love that we had two big boys battling it out yesterday.
Nobody was talking about that.
It's one of those things where it's a little sensitive, but we had two big boys going at it yesterday, and I'm not saying these guys don't work hard. I know that they do. What I'm saying is I love that this game has room for bodies of all shapes and sizes. We interviewed Chaz, number one short stature golfer in America.
That's right.
He's 4'4". Rory McIlroy is built, like a athlete or whatever you want to say. And then we had the big boys this week, and I thought that was fantastic.
It says a nice thing about our game. It's like the narrative about the game that persists.
Yes,
like it was
exactly.
Another good example.
Yes, most guys are fitter than they used to be, but you can still win big golf tournaments with a little bit of a belly.
And those guys,
and that's okay. And I can say that on this show. But if I said it's okay to win a golf tournament with a little bit of a belly and post it on the internet, it's going to be looked at.
The tone gets lost.
The tone gets lost. Tone is very, very important. So speaking of Sepp. So it's a 2-horse race, and I do mean horse. Okay, that's the last comment about physical size. So Sepp eagled 5 to draw even. It was kind of Sepp versus Shane. They were 4 clear at one point early in the day, but they got caught pretty quickly. So then Sepp parred 7, birdied 8 and 9, bogeyed 10, 11, and it was even for most of the back 9. Justin Thomas was making a push. He got to 1 back before a couple of left misses in crunch time, and I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'm sure I'll say it again on this show. I think what Justin Thomas did is the perfect major prep. I think you want to be inside the top 10. I don't think you want to win. Obviously, if you're a guy like Jacob Bridgman, who finished in the top 5, like you want to win. But if you're one of these guys who your goal is if your only goal that week is major championship preparation, I think winning is taxing.
Yeah, like Shane and Justin are both in better position for next week than Seb Straka is.
Well, Seb's also going to Pine Valley, which we talked about in our interview. So, but weather-wise, he's not missing anything. He's probably the happiest guy. We were talking about, it looks like a washout at Quail Hollow today. It's like super rainy. So we're happy because we're not missing anything on Monday. So I actually think this happened at the Masters too, where we had a little FOMO about not being there on Monday, but it was a total rain out on Monday. Seb Straka is probably the happiest guy in the room because he gets to go play Pine Valley guilt-free now.
Yeah.
If he was at Charlotte.
In good weather.
If he was in Charlotte, he would have an issue. But yeah, Rory McIlroy also in contention didn't win. So another great one. So JT kind of fades away. They trade birdies on the par 5 15th, which is a great hole. Great hazard hole. Tillinghast classic. Shane bogey 16, misses it left. Sepp makes par. They both par 17. They both hit the green on 18, but Shane was closer. And you're thinking, or I was thinking, he has the advantage. Here I was on the watch along yesterday. It ended up being a bit of an anticlimax, but let's run through the final sequence. Chance for an all-time Mongolian reversal here. Little match play situation. If Shane makes this and Seb misses, you never know. All right, Shane's got this lined up well outside the hole to the left. It's just not breaking. He cast it. Oh my goodness, was that a poor putt. That was the don't leave it short, give it a chance. That is 6 feet by. Oh man, Shane. 6 feet to make Seb Straka have to make it. His par effort misses. 3-jack from Shane Lowry, and that made Justin Thomas a lot of money. JT owes Shane Lowry a little wine. Seb Straka, 2 putts now for his 4th victory on the PGA Tour, and he only needs 1. There it is. Seb Straka wins the Truist Championship. Amazing show from Philly Cricket this week. I was absolutely wrong. Happy to be wrong. Thought the winning score was going to be 25 under par. It was 16 under, and Seb Straka wins the battle. So he's a lock for the Ryder Cup now. 2 wins this year, 1 signature event, 1 non-signature event. But yeah, just more Philly Cricket love. We had the shortest par 3 in PGA Tour history was the 14th. Played 95 yards.
Made a 5 on this hole.
Which, by the way, the PGA, you made a 5 on this hole?
I played this hole and made a 5. And it was playing 75 yards when I played it.
Just made an absolute mess.
I chunked it into the bunker. It was over from there.
That'll happen. First of all, this stopped me in my tracks. The PGA Tour has been around a long time. There's never been a hole that's 95 yards or shorter, which is crazy. I think every great golf course should have a drivable par 4 and a really short par 3.
I agree.
I think it's just...
What's that hole at Lakeside? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they can move it. It's like a 15, I want to say.
It's awesome.
Where they have like one tee that's 150 yards and they have one that's like 70.
And then the green's also like kind of diagonal, so you can make it like 40 yards if you went
and if you hit it over the green, you're dead.
Cool. There's so many options you can play.
So many options. They played over par, but just a little bit over. Or I played under par, but not crazy under par. And the guys loved it. They absolutely loved it. Here's Tony Finau calling for more venues at these more courses at these amazing venues in this amazing part of the country.
Yeah, we were talking about it there with Harry. I played with Harry English today, and Homa yesterday. We were talking about it. We within 150 mile radius of this place, I think it's some of the best golf in the world. So I'd love to see the tour make a lot more stops here, and this is definitely a good one.
And Seb Straka had similar things to say. Obviously, he won the tournament, so he's going to love it. If you're wondering about the shirt that I'm wearing in this interview that you're about to see, I realized that I had a Georgia shirt like 2 minutes before the interview, and I put it on.
Did you run inside and run back?
Well, it's in my. Where I do the watch along. There's a golf closet in there.
Oh, nice.
So I have my golf shirts in there. I'm a little Drake-like. I'm keeping all the shirts from all the.
Yeah.
I'm a little
You'll be sidelined at Kentucky basketball games.
Yeah. Billy Horschel wins, like I'm wearing the Florida shirt the next week. I've got absolutely no. Well, Billy's not going to win because he got injured, but I'm saying I've got no real loyalty. I'm a fan for hire, but I'm okay with it. All right, here I am with this is actually a really good one. Here I am with Seb Straka yesterday afternoon. We're joined by Seb Straka, 2-time winner this year, 4 wins on the PGA Tour. You've now won a signature event for the first time in your career. When I say all that, 4-time winner on tour, man, that sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty unbelievable. I never would have thought that I'd be anywhere close to this position. It's still sinking in.
So you had a fill-in Caddie this week. You had Drew Mathers on the bag. I'm not a math guy, but 10% of 3.6 million is 360,000. Does he get the normal weekly rate? And how did this all come to be, and how did he do?
Drew Dewey hurt his back last week, he wasn't able to go. He came up just in case, but then he told me to have a backup plan, and so I called Drew. We play golf together in Birmingham. He's a professional golfer. Plays on the mini tours, and he was nice enough to just hop right on a plane and be here. So he flew up Tuesday morning. We played a practice round and just kind of went from there. He's definitely getting the usual winning caddies get 10%. So he's
that's huge for him. I mean, like a guy who's chasing his dream. Like, did you have any moments with him to sort of sink in? I mean, obviously it's massive for you, but it's massive for him too.
Yeah, it's awesome. I caught myself thinking about that last night. I was like, 10%, it's a lot for this guy. And Drew's a great dude. He deserves everything. And, good player too. So hopefully this will kind of help him out and get him to, pay for his travel for a little while.
European flavor again at the top of the leaderboard. I know the American team had a bit of a powwow, a team building exercise. Are you starting to find? I mean, you're a lock to make the team now. Are you starting to sort of look toward Bethpage?
Yeah, Bethpage's been that's been on my calendar all year. It's been the number one goal this year is try to get enough points to get on that team, and this will definitely help out. I was a little behind. That Amex win didn't count, and that's what Rory told me coming off the green. He said at least this win is going to count towards Ryder Cup points. So. Looking forward to that. I don't know where I'm in the points now, but hopefully my game continues and I'll be there.
Our last question for you. You won. This was a different test this week. Old school golf course, Northeast, Tillinghast vibes. Do we need more golf courses on this type, or do we need more tournaments on this type of golf course in this type of market?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was awesome, and especially, it felt like a different golf course every day. The first day we get out here and they're easy pins, no wind at all, perfect weather, and everybody's shooting nothing. And then quickly go into second, third round, and it's hard to shoot under par. And it was so much fun to play this place. The fairways were incredible, running fast by Sunday, and I would be a big fan of playing some more of these type courses.
All right, we're rolling straight into Quail Hollow. We going there tonight? What's the plan?
Actually, Dewey gave me my birthday present is playing Pine Valley tomorrow. So I'll be staying around playing Pine Valley tomorrow and then flying out tomorrow afternoon. So
you're going win a signature event, play Pine Valley, straight into the PGA Championship.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty special stretch. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat that in my golf career. So
soak it in, Step. Soak it in, man. It's good to be you right now. Congratulations, dude.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you.
One of my favorite winter interviews that we did this year.
I love what you said at the end. You said soak it in, because when he said that, I was like, oh man, you got to smell those roses. That's like, you might not get that 3-week stretch ever again.
This is like, golf is not linear. It goes up and it goes down, and he's up right now.
Yeah.
And it's important to stop and smell the roses. I don't know if they have roses at Pine Valley, but whatever flowers they have in bloom, I'm sure it's beautiful.
Sniff them.
Sniff them. One more thing about this week with the fill-in caddies. Last 2 signature events have been won with a fill-in caddy.
We're going to have a word with Rick about that.
Justin Thomas had Joe Greiner on the bag, and Seb Straka had his buddy Drew Mathers on the bag. You can draw your own conclusions from that.
Who's got to fill in this week?
Yeah, exactly. The fill-ins, you could ride the fill-in train to some glory. All right, we're going to jump into a little segment that we call the Knock Around, presented by Knock Around Sunglasses. These are brand new. Look at that. I still have the tag on these guys. These are the Mary Janes. I keep coming back to these. There's a lot of ones. I've rocked with the Paso Robles, the Brooklines, the Love and Hates. But this, for me, I keep coming back to these. We have a promo code. If you go to knockaround.com and you use DanOnGolf20, you get 20% off these incredible sunglasses. I'm going to need them this week. We're going to Charlotte right after. I'm sure it'll be a lot hotter. I've had sunglasses that cost a lot more than this, and they are not any better quality. These are fantastic. I've been wearing them all year. I love my knockarounds. Rory McIlroy has the monkey off his back and is in DGAF mode, full DGAF mode. Let's roll this clip.
You seem to step further back from the live debate discussion, and it seemed that's when it started to click. I think you went second, then you won the Players and the Masters. Do you think there's a correlation there? Is your mind clearer?
I think so. I'm certainly not involved too much in the politics of everything, and even just not being involved with, even the being on the board of this tour, and even just talking about changes to the Tour Championship and all that. I've no idea what's going on, and I think at this point I don't care.
That's the right out. It's like you're out there to play. I have a very, very miniature version of this with our business that we're building here. You control the things that you can control.
Yeah.
And I think he was reminded in a sort of brutal way that for all of the energy that he spent at microphones like that, waxing poetic about the tour and throwing darts at live, when it came time to make a decision, it wasn't in his control. So don't worry about it.
It's a really interesting dichotomy, right? Because when pro athletes decide to get involved in this kind of stuff, a lot of the people that don't want them involved say, shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
Just play golf. But
good advice, maybe.
Well, I think that's the lesson is when it's on their terms, it's their decision. He can decide to step away from that or get involved in it as he wishes. It's not up to us or anybody else. So if his choice is shut up and dribble, then better for him. But it's not up to us to tell him what to get involved in.
I agree, and I think he's arrived there on his own, as you mentioned, and he's in a much better place for it. I'm just thinking about, you rewind three years ago, in addition to answering questions about not winning a major and not winning, the Masters, he had all of that as well. There was double monkeys on his back. He's got there were 2 monkeys who were molesting Rory McIlroy's back, and they've been removed. And, it's a little bit scary for everybody else moving forward.
He's just a golfer now. He doesn't even know about the changes to the Tour Championship.
Yeah, he'll find out about it on X, the everything app, like the rest of us.
I feel the same as him, by the way. I'm out on all that shit.
It feels like everyone's out on all of it. We're going to talk about this, I'm sure, with Alan later. But we're at a status quo where it's Live is going, PGA Tour is going. The Live guys are getting into majors. There's 15 Live guys in the PGA this week, so they're getting into majors. It just sort of is what it is.
We're seeing a good bit of the guys we want to see, like Bryson.
Right? Yeah, but even guys Puig got an invite, Tom McKibben got an invite, DJ got an invite. It's just it's just happening, and it seems like people are starting to not really care, and it is what it is, which is fine. Over on the LPGA Tour, Gino Titicul, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, she got the victory, 5th victory of her career, bogey-free last 27 holes. This tournament was played in the shadow of downtown Manhattan at Liberty National. Always a super fun. We've got a clip that I believe Addie Parker took,
yes.
our colleague Addie Parker, of Alim Kim hitting one off the cart path. Let's roll this.
This is dirty.
With some financial services buildings in the background.
So her nearest point of relief was actually left.
Right, so it would have been a terrible lie, yeah.
Crispy.
Yeah, she had to really squat down there to get it. Great camera work. How about the camera work here?
Way to go, Addie.
That is such a scary tee shot. I don't know if you played that course.
No, I haven't.
The whole right side is like marsh. It's absolutely terrifying. There's a lot of golf balls that end up
I went
there.
there for a President's Cup a few years ago when it was there. It was
2017.
Really cool.
Daniel Berger played in that.
That's right.
I think he's going to make his return to the Ryder Cup this year. Myrtle Beach, the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic. What a finish. There was a three-way playoff between Ryan Fox, Mackenzie Hughes, and Harry Higgs, and Ryan Fox won it in very dramatic fashion. Here was the decisive moment. This is how you win a playoff, by the way.
Did you chip in?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
On the first playoff hole. I maybe should have stayed live on the watch long for the playoff. Harry Higgs is smiling. It's like one of those faces where, they have the mask and they're smiling, and behind it they're like crying. Yeah. He's like, I mean, I have this play. And he was getting a read too, because his ball was kind of on the same line. I'm sure when that ball was, he's like, I want a read. I didn't want this good of a read. I didn't want the perfect read. It was like the Tiger, this is the line, the Tiger Woods video games that you have to follow. Quick shout out to Nathan Franks, who plays for South Carolina. So he won the Myrtle Beach Q, which I played in last year, to get into the field. He finished tied for 37th, -5 for the week. Obviously a very, very capable player. Speaking of college golf, regionals starting today all around the country. Top 5 from each of those regionals advance to the NCAA National Tournament, the Nationals, which are at La Costa down the road. I'm excited for that. Over on the DP World Tour, the Turkish Open was won by Martin Kuvra, and that is a name that sounds a lot like Louvre. Famous art museum.
And Ovra.
Yeah. Interesting name. I like it. On the Asian Tour, the International Series event, these are the ones, the bigger money events on the Asian Tour where the live guys tend to play on off weeks. Lucas Herbert got the victory. It was on Mother's Day. And he FaceTimed his mother with the trophy in hand. Let's take a look at that.
So excited. You played so well.
Thanks, Mum. I didn't get you flowers this day.
He didn't get her flower. This is a bit of a cocky move. He was waiting on the trophy and he got it. But I think you probably, you could still send flowers. They're not mutually exclusive.
Is he a live guy?
Yes.
Okay, so he is.
He is a live guy. He's playing very well.
So big win for him.
Big win for him. He is not in the PGA Championship, but those wins are big for points and all that stuff. All right, quick callback to Garrick Higo. So we had him on the show after he won in Puerto Rico, and he was wearing the Boston hat. And he said the reason why was that he didn't have any sponsors. I think we have a clip of that. I love it. And the Boston hat, is that here to stay as well?
Might as well, yeah. I don't have any sponsors, so that's why I wear it.
I believe a sponsor has been acquired.
What do you get? I didn't see this.
A sponsor has been acquired. Let's show. I think we have a picture or something here. Oh, it's a clip. He did a whole thing with the Palm Beach crew, which is like Kygo's.
Palm Tree Crew.
Palm Tree Crew, not
PTC.
Palm Beach. Palm Tree Crew. He's wearing the hat this week and collab posting. So I think I don't know if we deserve like a 2%, 1% royalty on that deal,
yeah,
but
at least some PTC.
Something. What is PTC?
Palm Tree Crew.
Oh, some Palm Tree Crew swagger. Yeah, they have a club now. They have one in Miami, and I believe they just opened one in Vegas as well.
They do a lot of good stuff with Puma. They do some nice collabs. I got to look at Higo's lettuce in person this week in Philly. It is more voluptuous than I even.
It is. It's some serious hair, and I was texting with him a little bit because he posted an Instagram story from Quail Hollow yesterday afternoon, and I said, "Didn't you play in the morning?" And he said, "Yeah, I took a flight over and played 9 in the afternoon." And he said, "How good was Philly cricket?" So the guys loved Philly cricket.
Sicko.
All my boys love Philly cricket. All right, speaking of Philly cricket, so Shane Lowry finished tied for second. Didn't talk to media after. Now, Shane a couple weeks ago was talking about how he thinks that players should have 30 minutes to collect their thoughts before they talk to media, which we said on this show is pretty reasonable.
We co-signed that.
I don't know if he, didn't have 30 minutes to give or whatever it was, but he didn't speak yesterday, so we got sort of the exclusive. This was we did not talk yesterday. We talked on the range on Tuesday, and Andy, our producer, was freaking out because he was like, "We got this Shane Lowry interview, but what if he wins a tournament? Then we're going to have 2 Shane Lowry interviews. We're going to have to..." Didn't happen. But we've got both of the top finishers on this show. We got Shane, Sepp. You heard from Sepp already, and we're about to hear from Shane. Here's my catch-up with Shane Lowry. Obviously, this is before the Truist Championship. All right, so I've become very obsessed with Roy Keane. And
yes.
He's an Irish legend, and he does commentary. I think you could do commentary after your career.
Golf?
Yeah. No, what do you think?
Sorry. I love their, you obviously listen to Stick to Football.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. Like, I can't wait till it comes out every week. I listen to it every
Could
week.
you see yourself doing?
I could see myself doing something like that. Like, could we do a stick to golf?
I would do a stick to golf.
I think a stick to golf. I've talked about it. A stick to golf could work.
I'll be your guy.
Because I talked to Gary Neville owns stick to football.
Okay,
To
well,
talk to him.
we can get Gary to license it.
I saw a stat that it's halfway through the season now. I think you still have 3 majors left, but it's sort of halfway through the year. How would you describe your year so far?
I would say my year's been okay. I'd say good. I wouldn't say great. I'm pretty happy, but I'm trying to stay patient and wait for something big to come along.
Like, are you in a point of your career where it's almost like top 10s don't really?
Well, you still wanna, like, at the end of the day, the reason when I don't have a chance to win a tournament, let's say I'm going out there Sunday lying 20th, what am I playing for? I don't get a buzz out of playing for the money, like, you know what I mean? So I'm playing for, like, the points, like Ryder Cup points, World Ranking points, FedEx Cup points. I feel like that's what keeps me going and trying to do as well as I can in all of those.
Ryder Cup, Keegan's having a dinner for the American team on Tuesday night. You feel like it's
Next Tuesday? Yeah, I'm playing with him this week.
You feel like it's slowly starting to?
Yeah, I flew up with Keegan on this week actually, and I'm playing with him, so that's funny. I like Keegan, I get on really well with him, but yeah, I feel like it's, when you think about it, it's actually not that far away. You know, it's probably, we're probably 3 months, 12 weeks away from the teams being picked, or not far away from something like that. So yeah.
I know how bad you wanted to win at Augusta. What were the emotions like after such a disappointing Sunday for you personally, but then, you know, your close friend making proper golf history?
Honestly, it was the weirdest day of my, like, golfing career, where obviously I had, like, such a horrendous day, you know.
Played bad, bad breaks both?
Played bad, the course got away from me, and then I just really struggled. Like, I've been playing great all week, and then I had a couple of 3-putts early on. You know, the greens got, like, it's hard to explain to people how quick the greens actually got on Sunday. I would say they were probably 3 feet quicker than they were on Saturday.
Just overnight.
Just no grass on the greens. You know, and everyone was quite shocked with Rory missing that putt to win on 18. And obviously it's like 6 feet, and you kind of expect golfers to hold that. But if you would have seen what it was like around that hole, you know, even though we're allowed to tap down spike marks, they're still there, and it's still bumpy. And yeah, it was. Yeah, so it was the weirdest day ever, but you know, when I kind of came in and I went to the locker room on my own for 10 or 15 minutes and watched some of the golf and waited for Rory to finish, and obviously when he finished, I was obviously very happy for him.
You kind of came to a solution to the media problem, I think.
You think so?
I think 30 minutes.
Yeah. I was just talking to another journalist about it there.
Go take a shower, do what you need to do. I mean, quarterbacks, when they, you know, throw the interception, they get to go to lose the game. They get to go with their teammates.
I think when we finish playing, 75% of the time we're fine, like we're just normal, you know, but then there's like a time where you finish bad or even you finish good, and I do think the media and the people that read the media and look at all that would get a better description of how the player is actually feeling, you know, because there's sometimes you come in off the golf course and you're at like the biggest high, and then you might say something a bit too whatever, you know, going into Sunday, and then you're at like an all-time low. Like I came in off the course on Saturday, and in my mind I was after bogeying the last 2 to basically cost myself a chance to win the Masters on Sunday. And like, if you've put like so much time and effort into something, for that to happen, like, you know, at the flick of a switch, and then you've got to come in and explain to people why it happened, it's always very, very difficult to
Yeah, it's like I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I know.
I was trying.
Yeah, like I'm like, an hour earlier I'm thinking I'm going to win the Masters, and now I don't think I can, and I'm like, I've put a lot of work into this, and yeah, but I don't know if it'll happen. I've thought about saying it to people from the tour, but I don't know if they'll listen to me.
Last question. There's been a lot of caddy movement on tour.
I saw that.
And your old caddy is now working for Minwoo.
Yeah.
Is it like when you see them for the first time? Is it like a little bit of like a?
Seen your ex-girlfriend?
Like, who's gonna say hi first?
No. I've always got on well with both, so we've always had a relationship since we finished. I think at the end of the day, you know, especially with Bo and I, and the other caddies, the other players in caddies should be the same. Like, you look at obviously Colin and JJ is the big one now. Like, you know, JJ and Colin had like 2 of the best experiences of their whole lives, golfing lives together. You know what I mean? 2 majors together. Like Bo and I had like arguably the best experience on a golf course I'll ever have, and he was standing beside me. So I don't think there should ever be any begrudgery there. And I think, especially for a caddy and a player that's been out here so long, everything comes to an end.
I know I said last question, but I got one more. Port Rush is creeping up.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about getting back there?
I'm good. I'm a little apprehensive about it because it's going to be obviously different than the last time for me. But yeah, I'm excited for it. At the end of the day, it's the Open. I want to go on and perform and win, but I also want to enjoy the week. And but Rory going back there with the green jacket, I know he was back home to see his parents a couple of weeks ago, but him going back to Northern Ireland in July with the green jacket would be pretty cool. I'm sure the crowds are going to be unbelievable.
And next time we do this, it'll be on Stick to Golf.
Stick to Golf, there we go.
I'm your guy, I'll be the coach.
There we go.
You need someone to quarterback the conversation.
We need a Gary Neville.
Yeah. And we Roy Keane.
Gary Neville, right back.
Yeah, I could be.
Who's the Roy Keane?
It's presented by Huel. Huel helps you. That's what he says a lot.
I know he does.
It'll be you, me, and Joel.
Really?
Squad.
Stick to golf.
Yeah, stick to golf.
We just got to get.
Is it going to be very time consuming? I'm only kidding.
He was really thinking about
Stick to golf. Stick to golf.
You could see the wheels turning. He's like, am I going to commit to this right now?
I think it's got legs. He said after that he wants to do it with Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh, that'd be great.
Shane and Tommy.
Those voices.
Yeah, we got a Liverpool accent, and we got
put the whole golf podcast industry out of business.
We got the Liverpool accent. We got the Irish accent. I was trying to elbow my way into that conversation.
I'll be on it too.
I don't think it was really for me, but it's okay. That's what happens. All right. We're going to move into the first part of we're going to move into sort of the PGA Championship section of the show. So we did this before the Masters with Scott Fawcett, and you guys dug it, going through the golf course from a statistical perspective, showing his packet and what he delivers to players and what some of these players, how they'll approach the golf course. Before we started recording this, we spent like 10 minutes just talking about the Masters because Scott likes to text me when he disagrees with a course management decision. So he absolutely hated Bryson hitting iron on 3. Remember, Bryson had taken the lead. Rory doubles the first. Bryson birdies the second. Rory doesn't. And then Bryson hits iron on 3 and makes bogey, and Rory makes birdie and kind of flips back. And then he absolutely hated Rory hitting 3-wood on 14 and 17. He was like, just send it. Like, it's not an easier shot with 3-wood. He hit it in the trees a couple of days. And what I like about Scott is Rory made the birdie on 17. That's the one where he hit it and he was like, go, please go. But Scott will stick to his guns. He doesn't care if he made birdie. He's like, that's a stupid decision. I don't care what the outcome is. He's a process guy. So here we are breaking down the front 9 of Quail Hollow. Enjoy. So we're here with Scott Fawcett. You guys really got a kick out of this last time. We dove through Augusta National hole by hole. We're gonna do it again. So let's hop into Quail Hollow. Okay, we're gonna preview this course, hole by hole, the same way we did for the Masters. It's an interesting case this week because there's so much history at this course. They've been playing it for so long on the PGA Tour, and they've been playing it right around this time, right? I mean, the major when it was their last 2017 PGA, that was in August, so it was wet. It was the different grass conditions. But let's hop in. All right, the first hole, pretty standard. I mean, right? Not really much to think about here. Pretty narrow green.
Well, no, but your tee shot pretty much needs to fade on that hole. The trees on the right definitely are going to be difficult for a draw, and then without knowing the speed of the course. I'm not sure yet how it's going to be playing fast or slow, but a draw coming into a sharp, that's a 45-ish, just eyeballing it degree dogleg, right? So if you're drawing it and it's fast, you're running out of room really quickly. It's right at 300 yards between the second and third bunker, so the longest players can get to the third bunker for sure. So this is a tee shot that really does kind of need to be moving from left to right, which, again, that's what I like about this place. There's 2 tee shots that really need to move from left to right, and there's 3 tee shots. There's 3 tee shots that need to move left to right, and 2 that need to move right to left. And we start off with one that pretty much needs to move from left to right, but it's also, for a guy like Rory, just kind of a perfect 3-wood to the corner. So he'll probably step up and try to fade driver, which is one of the main things that drives me crazy with him. But this is definitely a spot to just hit it 290 off the tee.
And then this green, I'm looking at the next slide. One green. It's a pretty like narrow green. I feel like you just hit it in the middle of the green, you're gonna have a pretty good look no matter where it is.
Directionally, middle of the green is your target every single time. I mean, so we want to get it pin high, and that's when people kind of get lost when they're like, "Oh, middle of the green." Like, we're not talking like the dartboard bullseye dead center. We're talking directionally, and then we do try to move it to pin high. But yes, the dead center. It doesn't matter if they crank one out there to 160 and only have 160 left. Dead center directionally is going to be your spot.
Is number 2 one of the holes where you got to kind of turn it right to left, especially if it's firm?
Yep. Even with the new
fairway slopes like that, it's sort of the opposite of 10 at Augusta, where 10 at Augusta is kind of a big dog leg, but it moves with the dog leg. This kind of moves against it.
Yeah, this one is definitely either for the fade players is definitely a 3-wood whatever to the corner, and then the draw players can try to sling a draw around there. I mean, it's amazing where you see some of the guys hit them too, and potentially a fade player, because the trees on the left are far enough away that they can kind of try to work it down there, but you can see they're about 290. The apex on most of these guys' drivers, I'm kind of making this number up for my own numbers, but I think is probably at about 240. It's shorter than you think it is for the apex. And then
interesting, like how far away from the tee box where it actually hits its height of 110 feet or whatever it is.
Exactly. I mean, and the guys like Rory that can really bomb it up there high, it's a little bit further out, but the apex is around 240, which is so depending on how big that tree is. I don't really know, to be honest. I didn't look at that one from the satellite sideways, but a fade's going to be definitely getting in trouble on that thing, most likely.
Anything notable going into the screen?
Not particularly. It's just these scatter plot images in Tracker 2 are so interesting, because like that second round one in the top right, this is my point about course management. It doesn't matter if you took that shot pattern, it doesn't matter where you put the pin, somebody would hit it close. I mean, and the fact of looking at that entire green and there's only one guy that 3-putted and it looks like it's from about 20 feet, I'm assuming it's a pretty big, flat-ish green. Nothing really too interesting going on there overall.
3 is as kind of straight away as you'll see a hole, really.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's 483 playing at 4.2 last year in Wells Fargo. Just absolutely send it. It's interesting how many balls are over there left of the cart path. I mean, that's pretty far left. Sometimes you see something like that and you just want to be like, oh, that's an anomaly.
Well, I think it looks like it's more dense down the right. So guys are probably a little scared.
I'm just saying how big the misses are left. Oh, no, I see what you're saying. Favoring. Yeah, but they say, but again, they shouldn't favor the left at all, because if you look at my 60-yard wide zone, it's if I'm going barely up the left center, there shouldn't be a problem.
The green looks pretty. I mean, the scatter plots look pretty similar for those, at least for the first three of the pins. The first one's a little bit different, but 2, 3, and 4, it's pretty similar, the dispersion.
Yeah, and these are the images from 2023 when it was a full field, so that's why you see more shots. I used the tee shots from 2024, and then I used the approach shots from 2023 just so that way the caddies and players could get more information that, to that left pin in the back left pin, that left bunker doesn't look very good.
No, there's a lot of black from those left bunkers.
Yeah, just so they could get more information on those.
Okay, par 3, number 4, nothing fancy. We're going to move ahead to
But 4 is a scoring opportunity-ish for these guys. They played it shorter. They played it down in the 160s a couple days, and then it's up in the 180s. Even had it for that front right pin for whatever reason at 155, and the scoring average was still 3.147, which is pretty insane.
5 gets tight. This is one of the holes where I feel like guys will probably lay back and it will piss you off.
This is one of the holes, but this is what Rory was talking about, being really aggressive off the tee. Again, I only saw that clip once. I didn't watch it multiple times to really get a feel for what he was saying. I mean, literally, someone just sent it to me right before we started. But in it, I heard Rory say something along the lines of a lot of these bunkers are 310, 315 to carry, which he's just going to send it on this thing and just aim it at the right lip and turn it on this hole. So the guys, I mean, there's a couple of holes, like Rory said, where only the longest players are going to cover it. And so now you're talking about the guys, even the shorter players still kind of hit it over 300 total. And so now we're talking about, well, shoot, that brings the left bunker in play. I've got to start working it between these bunkers on the right and left. Gosh, I got to drop back to 3-wood. Now you start getting some real disparity, and the guys that hit it the furthest are getting to hit driver, and some of the average players are having to lay back to 3-wood. when you're talking a 40, 50-yard difference there. Which,
and I think some people complain about that he's just better at this than you.
Well, that's what I always laugh about. Like, he has more skill than you. Like, LeBron at 6'8" and 290 or whatever that dude is. Like, yeah, he's just going to manhandle a lot of people.
That's like, called life.
Athletics is who is the biggest and strongest and has the most control of their ball in whatever the sport is. Like, and Rory's not the biggest or strongest, but he effectively is.
If we go to 6 green, it's interesting. This hole's much longer, but the scoring average was not that much higher. I guess it's pretty manageable around the green.
It's a relatively big green, and like you say, it's not the hardest up and downs from left. It's even to the left pin. You can see that quite a few guys get it up and down. I don't know if they're bumping it up because obviously there is a little bit of a hill there just because the balls collect down into the first cut. But once you get these guys a pretty big green, they're going to hit it a whole bunch. They're going to they're going to play it even par from the shots that are on the green in regulation. And then once they're off the green in regulation, these guys, I mean, they just chip it so good. And, the left side is clearly an easier up and down than anything else is.
7 is a good par 5. I always remember this hole because it's got the biggest houses, I think, maybe on the PGA Tour across that lake.
What's funny is I definitely spent about 5 minutes looking at some of them while I was making
Dude, I think Webb Simpson lives in one of those, and those houses, they are just mansions over there. We're centering this a little bit further left of center of the fairway because of that hazard.
Exactly. And, it's one of those deals, the bunkers then are just in play. You can see from the first bunker, nobody made birdie. So I don't know if it's a little bit deeper, maybe it's obviously a little bit narrower depth-wise. And so they're probably having to hit a more lofted club coming out of there, leaving themselves a longer shot coming in. But what's interesting then is you go to the next bunker and you see how many bogeys there are. And I guarantee you that's somebody out there. It looks like they're probably about 220, 230.
I'm going to hit 4 iron.
Get this 3 or 4 iron on the green and then just fat it in the water. There's no other excuse for why they would be doing that. But if you look at it collectively, you can see, just kind of eyeballing it, there's more birdies than bogeys. So they're still playing it under par from that bunker. But it's a spot where if the ball's hanging, not a perfect lie, anything whatsoever, if just anything is wrong, that's the spot where Rory's talking about. You got to be comfortable laying up like, I just wish this lie were just a little bit better. That's just a mandatory layup. And in a situation like that, especially with penalty hazards involved, if anything is throwing up a red flag in your gut, you have to lay up.
All right. 8's a short par 4.
This is definitely one of the ones where in my notes, I said probably needs left to right because the trees on the right are pretty tall. You can kind of see their shadows laying across there.
Wait, but I'm looking at the year by year. Look at how many more guys are starting to go for it or starting to hit driver down there. If you look back at 2018, look at how many guys laid up and missed the fairway.
Oh, it's just incredible.
Yeah. Like quite a few.
It's just incredible. And again, this is where thinking in fractions of shots, the scoring average in 2018 was 3.87. Scoring average in 2023 was 3.748. But that doesn't sound like that big of a deal. But again, you've got to annualize these returns. That's just a better decision off the tee, explaining that essentially entirely away. So by hitting driver there, we've gained another 0.1 and change. We do that same decision. It's a half a shot. It's huge.
Okay, 9. There's a new tee behind the cart path, so the shot link imagery is only relevant from the old tee. Oh, they added one.
Yeah, so you can see where the shot link image is. I think this hole used to be 498. And so where you see where the shot link image of the scatter plot is up to the bunker and past it. Well, imagine taking my triangle up another 35 yards. You could see where it would center. So this is one historically, again, so Rory plays well here. This would have evened the score at 3-3 on important to hit it right to left versus left to right, taking this one of his advantage holes. They definitely took an advantage hole for him out of play here.
Because he can't carry that bunker now.
We can't carry that bunker, no. But the bunker's in play, probably more for him than the rest of the field. But this is a hole where you used to have to turn it from right to left. This one I definitely looked at. Those trees on the corner I think are like 280 and tall. Fade's not going to work on this hole. So this is historically, again, horses for courses. I don't buy that either. But horses for courses, this definitely is a hole that was huge advantage Rory that is now not.
All right, meaty stuff with Scott always.
And more to come.
That was only the front 9. The back 9, I'll get a little preview. Last year, the 16th hole was the third hardest hole on the course. The 17th hole was the second hardest hole on the course, and the 18th hole was the first hardest hole on the course.
Hell yeah!
It is very rare that you get a crescendo that builds like that, where it's like legitimately third hardest, second hardest, first hardest on the last three.
That's what works for us as viewers.
It's the Green Mile, baby. All right, we're gonna bring on our guy Rick Gaiman. He keeps his perfect streak alive of being on this show just every time we've done it. Rick, we got do we have Rick? We got Rick Gaiman live.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me? Okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. We got Berger across the line. Colin, he was T11. Needed it in the end. He was right there. I thought he was going to be, after the first couple rounds, he was right up there near the lead. Not our best week, but we didn't get blanked.
We didn't get blanked, and I thought all three of these guys played well, right? Morikawa was in the mix. Xander finished inside the top 10, and Berger cashed it. So, yeah, no worries there. I thought there was going to be a scenario. I wish the last couple holes were playing more difficult, because there would have been a scenario in which we would have been rooting for a Berger bogey on 18 to try to move the T10 number down. But the final, that would have been very sick, but the final holes were not playing as difficult as I was hoping for that scenario.
Before we hop into, we're still 32 units up, which is fantastic, and we're gonna make a lot of money this week. I feel it. Before we get into the PGA picks, how was your the ESPN bet stuff? How was the coverage?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very new stream. They've only done it, I think, 3 or 4 times, and it goes fast, guys. Like, there's just a lot going on. That par 3 14 was a big focus for us, and then we had a couple of featured groups every day, and I think it's just really cool to see. I mean, those studios are like 100,000 square foot man cave if you're a golf fan. Like, they've got simulators and televisions everywhere and all the streams you could ever imagine and all the bells and whistles. So it was really cool to be a part of it, for sure.
So this week, interesting major week, because it's not a new course. They've played it a bunch of times. They've played it a lot of times right around now, right? I mean, the Wells Fargo was the old Truist, so it's literally the week before when they would play this. So you would think it would play somewhat similar, but what are you expecting? I mean, the sort of early word is that the rough is longer.
Yeah, so I guess this is a rare one. Outside of Augusta National, there's probably not another major that we have where we're going to have as much data as we do for this one. The rough is supposed to be about a half inch thicker or longer to start the week, about 2.75 inches. And of course, I mean, it is just continuing to pour right now. It is going to be wet. It's going to play a lot longer. And I heard you talking with Scott there. They've made a couple of adjustments, extending a tee box or two. So, yeah, I think it's going to play pretty similar, maybe a little bit longer. I think this really does benefit the bombers and the guys who are able to generate a lot of ball speed and a lot of club head speed.
So we're going to have 10 picks. We're going to start with an A-tier player. Now, I feel like there are 4 guys who are really entering this week, and I haven't looked at the odds, I'm sure you have, who are in sort of a class above, just as far as what their prep has been. You've got Rory, who's, I think Jordan Spieth called it Rory McIlroy Country Club. He's won there 4 times, got the monkey off his back. He finished 7th this week, and he said he didn't really play well, and it was his first week getting back to sharpness. You've got Justin Thomas, who's had a chance to win 3 of his last 4. Won the last major at Quail Hollow. You've got Bryson, who's had a chance to win his last 4 tournaments. He's had a chance to win 4 of the last 5 majors, and like you said, course fit-wise, feels pretty perfect. And then Scotty Scheffler, he won by 8 shots in his last start, and then he's got 3 weeks at home in Dallas before he makes the trip to Charlotte. So is that the A tier? Am I missing anybody? And who would be your pick among those?
No, that's fair. And that is, pick your fighter, right? Who do you want to go to battle with on Sunday? You probably can't go wrong with any one of those guys. I did opt for Rory McIlroy here, and I'm just going to remove the whole career Grand Slam, monkey off the bat. Like, I'm just going to remove all of that. Rory McIlroy at Quail Hollow is the best player course combination in the world. I'm not exaggerating. 2.8 strokes gained per round over 32 rounds. Anybody with a minimum of 24 rounds at any golf course cannot beat Rory McIlroy. Okay, so the ultimate course horse. I heard Scott mention that the longest of the hitters have an edge here. That's true. That bears out in the statistics as well. There are a handful of spots where only the top percentage of distance guys are going to be able to get a much better angle, a much better result. And because everybody has to play from the same spot off the tee, that is a guaranteed built-in advantage. So that is just the statistical side of things. And then if you think I'm missing out on Rory McIlroy playing in his first major championship as a career Grand Slam winner at the golf course that is literally the best in the world for him, you're out of your freaking mind. So I'm rolling with Rory McIlroy here.
B tier player, kind of that next tier in the odds. Who do we like to sprinkle a little outright?
Gosh, this Xander guy has just
got a hold on you.
He's got a hold on me, but I don't mind it. Off to a little bit of a slow start on Thursday last week. Played great the final 3 days. You know, I thought he looked a little bit off, and he still finished inside the top 10. The thing that really got me, Dan, was on Sunday. He drove it into the greenside bunker on both 1 and 2. And that is something that only Rory McIlroy did on Sunday. I mean, this dude is long. He was third in driving distance.
Yeah.
All drives in driving distance last week. He was third. I don't know what this new gear is that he has found, but I think that he's going to be able to take advantage of some of those situations off the tee that other guys are just not going to be physically able to take advantage of.
Okay, so that's our B tier player. Our CT player is another guy who you just can't seem to quit.
No, and they keep playing well enough, right? I mean, it's one of these scenarios. It's Patrick Cantlay. He's 50-1. He's 50-1. He has been the model darling. He's a ball striking maven. He finally gained strokes with the putter last week. I worry about a lot of things. I worry that when he looks up on the leaderboard on the back nine on Sunday and he sees his name up there, he's going to make a
Dude, it happened this past week where it was like he got up there and it was like he just didn't seem to have a real interest in taking that next step.
I think if they played 1,000 holes, Patrick Cantlay would win them all. But like the ability to make a birdie right now in this moment, he just lacks. But at 50-1, when you are as talented as he is on a golf course that, listen, he's not super long, but he's long enough, and he's going to be able to separate himself a lot via the tee to green play. I will run these two guys out there one more time and see what happens.
All right, make the cut bet. Very, very simple job. Very simple job you got to do here.
Very simple. A lot of guys in the field, but very simple. This is Nicholas Norgard. So he's coming off a really good finish in Myrtle Beach. He's a masher, right? Again, there's going to be a trend here. He moves it off the tee. He's rounding into form right now. There is a strong correlation between if you could like 175 miles an hour of ball speed. If you have 175 miles an hour of ball speed, it is really hard to be bad at Quail Hollow. And that's really what I just need to avoid. I just need you to get you to the weekend. I'm paying a little bit of juice here. He's minus 115. So odd makers think he is more likely than not to make the cut, just over 50%. I agree with that sentiment. We're going with Nicholas.
Okay. Missed the cut. A little bit of a naughty boy bet here. You know, rooting against somebody, but you know, a little bit of hate watch never hurt anybody.
It never hurt anybody. Quail Hollow has hurt Mackenzie Hughes, though, which is where we're going here. I mean, it makes sense. This is like on paper one of the worst.
He's
places.
He played short game guy.
This is horrible for him. I mean, this is such a big ballpark. He's missed like 3 out of his 4. He's missed the cut in like 3 out of his 4 trips here. He just had a very emotional letdown scenario where he gets bested by Ryan Fox, has to exert a lot of energy, and then goes to a golf course that is seriously super bad for him. So even money for him to miss the cut.
A matchup, one guy versus another. You start these guys on the app early in the week, and you get a couple days full of entertainment.
Yeah, you let them fly. And we've got Tommy Fleetwood over Victor Hovland here. And I was hoping to see the breadcrumbs from Victor more over the course of the last couple of weeks. I thought that he could be able to separate himself in the ball striking categories this week. It's a little bit wipey right now. He's not making solid contact. You're seeing that show up in the metrics as well. First couple rounds and even the whole tournament last week, he just could not. It was like his worst putting week of his career. And then Tommy Fleetwood is just Mr. Consistent. He's going to find a lot of different paths to get you towards the top of the board. He's very unlikely to win, but he's probably not going to burn you either.
I mean, I'm looking right now, he's number 7 in the data golf rankings right now since the Olympics last summer. Yeah. So that's, I don't know, 9 months ago. He's got one finish outside the top 25. So you can virtually book it for Mr. Fleetwood. Give us a prop that you like.
Yeah, so I've got two of them here. We'll start with the first one, and it's top live golfer, and I think Bryson is the favorite here. He's like plus 230 or plus 250. I went just a touch longer to Jon Rahm at plus 350. Bryson right now. I was just writing this up a little bit. Bryson is having the best driving season we've ever recorded. Whether that's shot link or live strokes gained, that's like he's gaining like
across.
A stroke and
You're
a half
saying across
round.
live and the Masters, basically so far.
No. I'm saying like since 2003, the greatest driving year we have ever seen is what Bryson DeChambeau is doing right now.
That's pretty good.
It's early. It's halfway through the year. He's got to hold on to it for the rest of the year. But Jon Rahm is also in like the top 30 of that. Now that's a lot. It's a very, very high end driving year, excuse me. We know all about the consecutive top 10 finishes at LIV. I don't really care about those. His major championship results are starting to turn around. This skews towards a better golf course for him than a lot of other places. So I'm going to take a little bit of the narrative that Bryson's driving that number down on him, and I'm going to take the Jon Rahm.
Yeah, I think I gut feeling is Rahm has a good week this week. I don't know.
I have him pretty highly ranked.
I have him highly ranked. I don't know if it's just a gut feeling or if it's, he finished 7th, I think, at the Open last year and 14th at the Masters. So, yeah, he wasn't really in the mix, but it's still been better. All right, and then hole-in-one bet.
Okay. We're going back. We got this wrong at the Masters.
Okay. Because they screwed us with the pin on 16.
Yeah.
They had to do like a special pin. Yeah.
No special pins this week, PGA.
Well, the good news is I don't know if there are a lot of great pins out there. I mean, these par threes are they're monsters. They are difficult. The proximities are into these par threes are some of the largest on the tour schedule, and now we're getting it in major championship level conditions. It's just like you're looking at a bunch of distances and pin locations that are just inaccessible. Somebody is going to have to hit a shot that rams the stick at 30 miles an hour and goes down. And that's really been the shot link stuff as well. The guys just don't make a lot of aces around here, and they definitely don't do it in these types of conditions.
I saw a stat, and I think we talked about this with Scott. When the pin was in the back last year on 17, right? That's the par 3. There were no birdies.
In the Green Mile?
No birdies. A field with the best players in the world. No birdies.
Barely hit the green. Yeah, you can barely hit the green. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. Give us a top 10 bet.
All right. So here's where I'm deploying Bryson. Right. So
I'm confused now. So you think Bryson and Rahm both finish in the top 10?
Oh, I think they're both going to do very well. Yeah. I think there's a very small pool of players that are finding their way to the top of this leaderboard, and I'm quite bullish on Bryson. I mentioned the driving stuff. He has not played a ton at Quail Hollow, but the what he's been able to do off the tee in his career there is very special. We've seen what he's done the last 5 major championships. Bryson, Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Rory McIlroy, like by far the best players since the start of 2024 in major championships. So we'll probably see it again. We'll probably see him in the mix again. I don't know if he's going to win. He's had his weekend or his Sunday struggles, but we're getting a plus 150 on the top 10, which is the way that I want to get access to Mr. DeChambeau here.
And then top 20 to round us out.
Yeah, I'm biting a little bit early here. We've been tracking Sung J.M. for a long time.
I love this pick.
He's plus 250 to finish inside the top 20. He is really good in difficult scenarios. He's really good when you're asked to hit it long and straight. His second shot play, it is not as sharp as we have seen him in the past, but he is very, very close. And he has plugged every other hole in his game. I love the way he's driving it. I love the short game. Dan, even the best player this week is probably going to hit like 56% of the greens. You're going to have to get up and down for par constantly, right? So guys that are able to do that and make that valuable, 6-foot par save or something like that, that's going to be important this week. I think Sung J.M. is ready for just a small positive second shot week, make his way to T14, and we'll all be happy on Monday.
He's got Willie Wilcox on the bag, who I think is going to join our live show on Wednesday, which I'm hoping you'll be at. I love Sung J this week. I think this is the bet that I'm most excited about. Another guy who maybe, isn't as interested in winning golf tournaments as, you might hope, but he's an ATM, and Willie reminds me of that all the time. So thank you so much, Rick. You're the man. We'll see you down there in Charlotte.
All right, guys. Take care. Later.
Good stuff there. What a card. I actually want to see if I can I recap all those bets? You'll have to go back and listen. Oh, no, I can recap them. All right, so we had the A tier, we had Rory. outright. B tier, we had Xander outright. C tier, we had 50-1 Patrick Cantlay outright. Yeah, there it is. Wow, look at that. Andy bringing it right back. So we have, I'm going to do this for the audio audience. Rory McIlroy to win plus 475. Xander Schauffele to win plus 2,000. Patrick Cantlay to win plus 5,000. To make the cut, we got Nicholas Norgard minus 115. To miss the cut, no disrespect, we got Mackenzie Hughes plus 100. We got Tommy Fleetwood to beat Victor Hovland minus 125. John Rahm is the top finishing live golfer plus 350. No hole in one is minus 200. Bryson DeChambeau top 10 plus 150. And Sungjae Im top 20 plus 250. Those are our picks. I'm feeling good about the slate this week. I'm also feeling good about this. Just got my whiteboard.
Let's go.
Time for Ben to take over the show. Ben, we're gonna blind rank again. And I want you to walk me through the topic this week.
Yeah, so before we do that, I want to say if you parlay that Rahm and that Bryson pick together, that's got to be a pretty sweet payoff because I think that's...
Well, you're basically banking on like a T6 out of Bryson and like a T4 out of Rahm.
I think that's fair.
Okay. I like
not a betting man, but that's what I would go.
Sungjae Im plus the top 20. That's my favorite pick of the week.
You like that?
I love it.
All right, so we're going to do golf swings this week.
Blind ranking golf swings.
Blind ranking golf swings. I've picked 10.
What's our criteria? Is it like aesthetics? Is it which one I want the most?
It's based on my personal opinion of who has an interesting or beautiful golf swing. So it's either going to be interesting or it's going to be beautiful.
Okay, so what am I ranking them by most interesting or most beautiful or whatever, however
You're going to rank them by prettiest, yeah.
Prettiest?
No, you're going to be rank them by best. That's how we'll keep it broad. Because it's your opinion.
Okay.
You're going to rank them by best.
All right.
You're going to get screwed up a little bit because of the order that I'm putting things in, but...
Laptop is closed.
Yeah, and show the people once you write a few down.
Okay, thank you, Andy. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Eraser, only for typos. Once you
no eraser necessary, bro. No eraser.
We don't even have it on the desk.
No eraser necessary.
We're going ham.
If I have to raw dog it with my finger, I will.
All right, let's get started. It's an easy one right off the bat, but it's a hard one to place.
Okay.
Considering there's 9 more coming. Mr. Adam Scott is first on our list.
So this is like the classic, P1, P2, P3, beautiful golf swing. His posture, I'm going to put it low on my list. And the reason is because I don't think people should try and emulate this golf swing. Because I went to George Gankis, who has been giving me, lessons, and he says, Adam Scott, everyone tries to recreate his posture, but he doesn't like that posture for me. And he says that Adam Scott's first move is he moves kind of back and he actually lines the ball up off the heel so that his posture, if you try to assume Adam Scott's posture, you're not going to be able to get to the ball and you're going to have to manipulate. So it's a beautiful golf swing. It's amazing. It's not one that I think most people should copy. So I'm going to go with number 9 for Adam Scott.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
How many
because
among us are trying to recreate that exact
Adam
swing?
Scott, and we have a clip somewhere that, you can go and find. But I asked Adam Scott, I was like, oh, you worked with Gankis. He's like, I saw clips of George saying, I don't like Adam Scott's posture. So I was like, maybe this guy's onto something. And so then he went and saw George.
That's awesome.
And got some more information on why he doesn't tell people to copy his posture.
That is a great nugget you can only get here on Dan on Golf.
Number 9, Adam Scott.
All right. Next up, and this is where we mix it up a little bit, Jim Furyk.
This is an iconic swing. I think this is, maybe example 1A of swing your swing.
Yes.
This swing won a major championship. This swing won a lot of golf tournaments. This
swing has the record for lowest round on the PGA Tour.
58 on the PGA Tour. You are not going to find this in any instruction manual. It's breathtaking how close he stands to the ball. I'm going with number 3 just because of all the weird golf swings. This might be the weirdest, and it might be the most successful, really bizarre golf swing. So I'm going with Jim Furyk.
This is my list. All hope.
This is my list. Yeah. Number 3.
I'm with it. Okay, number 3, or the third offer I'll give you, is a guy we've been talking about a little bit on the show the past couple weeks, and I love this guy's move, Joaquin Niemann.
A great move, a ton of side bend. As a guy who's struggled with some back injuries, it makes me a little bit nervous.
It makes you jealous.
It just makes me jealous. It's a really stable club face. It's very much a young man's move. It's produced tremendous success on LIV, not as tremendous success in the majors. Doesn't hit it as high as some of the others. I'm going to leave room here. I'm going with number 10. And not that I don't love his swing. These are all these swings I would trade with in a heartbeat. But this one just makes my back hurt a little bit. I'm going with number 10.
I love this swing because he gets his ears like parallel to the ground.
It's not a position that most humans can assume.
It's a different kind of stack. He's stacking his ear on top of his nose on top of his ear.
When I think of Joaquin Niemann, I think of this position right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Wow, big laugh from the control room. I hope that was for us.
Control room love that one.
Watching comedy shows.
Control room love that one.
All right, another really popular move right now. You just caddied for this man, Jake Knapp.
I love this one. As far as vibes go, as far as aesthetics go, I describe it as sort of half Fred Couples, half John Daly. It's one of those swings where you're walking on the driving range, and if we always talk about the hypothetical alien who comes down and apparently can judge golf swings, they'd be like, "Who's that guy?"
I want that one.
I want that one. My lone concern is, it's very long and very flowy, so I feel like in pressure moments you kind of rely on timing a little bit. But as far as just raw power and aesthetics, Jake Knapp's number 2 for me, putting it just ahead of Jim Furyk.
The shorter swing feels like it's something that is becoming more popular as the years have gone on.
Absolutely. I mean, the long swings tend to age better because it's less about kind of like whip and more about like long and flow. I mean, think about Fred Couples and how the longevity. And Phil Mickelson is a super long swing, and he's been pretty injury-free. So, yeah, I love Jake Knapp's move.
All right, well, here's a nice smooth transition to a shorter swing and an older guy, Louis Oosthuizen.
Very similar to Adam Scott in my mind, as far as like perfect lines. Might even have a little bit of smoother tempo than Adam Scott. It's kind of an upright-ish move.
It's very stable.
Very stable. I remember it wasn't long ago. I think it was like 2021 where this guy was finishing second in every major championship. I'm putting Louis at number 6 just because I don't really know what's coming, but I'm going to spell it right. Oosthuizen. Oosthuizen.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, let's give a progress.
Here's where we are so far. We've got Jake Knapp number 2, Jim Furyk number 3, Louis Oosthuizen number 6, Adam Scott. I'm trying to find the level here. I'm having a really hard time doing that. This way. This way. There we go. I got it, Andy. I got it. Joaquin Niemann. I just signed my contract to join this. Joaquin Niemann, number 10. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
We got 5 more.
Next up, the big dog of the moment, Rory McIlroy. A powerful, beautiful golf swing. Another one you should not try to recreate if you have a disc issue.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one where George was showing me. His first move is back to balance. He's kind of on his toes out of dress, and then he kind of sits into his heels, and then he kind of goes back into his toes, and then up to the heel. I think it's a top 5 swing probably of all time. Just in terms of.
Do you have any spots left in the top 5?
It's going to be number 1. It's going to be number 1 for me. I'm going to go with Rory McIlroy just because ever since he burst onto the scene as a teenager, it was like that swing is just different gravy, and I think it's only gotten tighter and more technically sound as the years have gone on. So I can't put Jake Knapp over Rory. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be other guys who come in here who I'm like, wow, I screwed myself by having the top 3 and the bottom 2. But Rory McIlroy's going number 1 for me.
I think the only thing that stops Rory from having like the most immaculate swing I've ever seen is he does a little bit of a tick right before he takes it off. And actually, when I noticed that it doesn't happen, it's when he hits a bad shot. When it's a good shot, he gets. There's
you should tell him.
Yeah.
You should tell him this week.
Yeah,
on the range.
I'll go up on the range.
Say, hey Rory, I know you've won a few tournaments in your day. I've noticed something. Pick something up.
It's not a perfect swing, bud. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. He also does. He's a big visualize, see it through his window. So he looks a lot of times, but it's not always uniform. Sometimes he looks like once or twice, and sometimes he looks like 6 or 7 times. But
that's cool.
We're not talking about pre-shot routines.
The end result is perfect.
We're talking about
the way that it looks,
and he's never out of balance. Never out of balance. For as hard as he swings, you never really see him swing out of his shoes.
All right, balance, perfectly balanced swing, short swing, mechanical swing, beautiful swing. I'd be happy with it if I got distributed this swing in the swing lottery. Ludwig Aubert.
Yeah, balance is the word here for me. He's a big kid. He's probably 6'2", 6'3". I love how fast he plays. I love the balance. I love how he gets to his front leg. He always makes a very full, finished, toward the target move. But it's, he's not actually hitting it very well right now. It's been an interesting season for him. Won the biggest tournament of his life early in the year, but has kind of struggled since then. I'm going number 7 behind Louis Oosthuizen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, I would put him right above Louis probably because he's like a taller, faster, exact swing of Louis. Like if Louis was 6'4" and,
Look, this isn't an exact science. We're at number 7.
We're also blind.
We got 3 more to go.
Now you got to put Freddie Couples somewhere. This is where the blind ranking comes to bite.
Yeah, I'm going to put Freddie at 5. Again, as far as, aesthetics, it's right up there with Jake Knapp as far as tempo and how smooth it is. But Jake, I think, has more speed. Jake's got a bigger shoulder turn.
Certainly.
So I'm going with, I feel good about where I'm at so far. We've got 2 left. We got number 4, number 8 left, and I'm liking the way people are going to freak out that I have Jake Knapp ahead of some rather accomplished players, but it's my list, so tough shit.
I don't know. I think he's risen to,
golf swing cult status.
Yeah, at least on the swing part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he shot 59 a few weeks ago. All right, these last two, as per tradition, are pretty near and dear to my heart. Mm-hmm. So the guy's swing that I tried to emulate growing up, and that I still probably would love to have, Luke Donald, our European Ryder Cup captain.
Luke Donald.
You don't know anything about Luke Donald?
I mean, I know it's a little wristy at the bottom. I know that it's he's
perfect.
He's a short gamer. He has an incredible short game, not necessarily known as
he's
the best.
He's one of the better ball strikers of all time.
If I could redo this, I'm not disrespecting Luke Donald, but there's just too much wrist action at the bottom for my taste. Obviously an incredible player. He's number 1 in the world. He was player of the year, or at least won the money list in the PGA Tour and the European Tour the same year, and he's a Northwestern Wildcat. But I would put his bunker action as maybe number 1, but golf swing is going number 8, and this is bad. I shouldn't have Luke Donald above Adam Scott, but that's how it goes.
That's how the blind rankings shake out, and when I get to pick all the guys too.
Luke Donald, I was not expecting that.
Man, growing up, the top of his swing, if you took a picture of it, it's what they draw.
So the thing about swings is that there's the top and then there's the other part where they go through it, and I don't like that one as much.
It's true. There are 2 parts to it usually.
Okay. So who's number
last
4?
but not least, the swing that my personal swing has been compared to, and I'll take that to the grave. Chad Mum said it to me, and should get it tattooed. Chris Kirk.
We're going for heavy tempo at the top. This guy's got a syrupy action, push draws for days. This is a name that these last 2 were not names that I was expecting to be on this list.
Look at that slow-mo. It's not actually slow-mo.
Yeah, it looks full speed. And he's actually longer than you think he is. He's not super short. I mean, I don't have a choice here. So we're going number 4, Chris Kirk. I'm going to put a sad face here, not because I don't love Chris Kirk.
Because you got played by the blind ranking. I got played
by the blind ranking. So here's our golf swing list. We've got Rory McIlroy, number 1, Jake Knapp, number 2, Jim Furyk, number 3, Chris Kirk, number 4. My apologies. Freddie Couples, number 5, Louis Oosthuizen, number 6, Ludwig Aubert, number 7, Luke Donald somehow is on this list, number 8, Adam Scott, number 9, and Joaquin Niemann.
There's always going to be at least one that I put in there.
I mean, just Luke Donald. I don't think people are holding him up as the model for golf swings.
I just think he's been forgotten about.
Well, he's a short game guy. Anyways.
You're so mad.
Well, I just didn't expect Luke Donald. That was a good one though. I'm gonna honesty button time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Honesty button. That was better than last week.
It was.
It was better than last week. We're getting better at this.
You got a little stumped.
We are gonna bring on a scratch teammate this week. I want to let you take the stage. We got a big guy writing for our website this week.
Yeah, we have a great story from this guy live on Scratch.golf right now about none other than Rory McIlroy, who this guy's writing a book about. Welcome to the show, Mr. Alan Shipnuck.
Alan. There he is. Take yourself off mute if you're on mute.
I'm not on mute.
No, you're dialed. You look like what's going on? Is that decor or they didn't finish the paint job behind you?
Could be either one. It's a hotel. I can't be held accountable for the design choices.
Well, but is the other side of the bed an inverse, or is that one?
It's an aesthetic choice, Dan.
Okay, so it's decor. Okay, we are going to do a little Ask Alan and Dan. I can't wait to hang out this week, Alan. It's going to be really lovely to see you.
Me too. I know. I'm stoked.
We're going to start. I'll answer the first one, and then I'll kind of toss to you for the next, but we'll both give our takes. The first question that we have, Will Sanborn asks, over under on 7 years, Spieth winning the career Grand Slam or never? I'm going to say never. And I know this is unpopular, but I'm getting a little, we had a little joke about this on the watch along. Everybody's I post stuff on Instagram and the comment is, this guy's going to win a major in the next 2 years. This guy's going to win a major in the next 3 years. It's is he? You know what I mean? There's only 4 of them per year. And it's not like Spieth has, I think Rory had 21 top 10s in between his major wins. He was there every single week. Jordan is popping up and down. Finished 35th this week in a field full of the best players in the world. I want him to win it. It'll be history for the game. But I'm gonna say it doesn't happen. What about you, Alan?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the bottom line is he's won 2 tournaments in the last 7 years. He's just not winning anything. Forget about majors. There's obviously been some injuries lately. There's been swing problems. There's been metaphysical issues. I mean, he's just not a regular threat to win golf tournaments, period. So, maybe he'll have a week where he just blacks out and he makes about a dozen 25 footers. I mean, it's always possible with him, but if you had to bet, I think never's the safe way to go.
And I think if you look at the other majors, he's more likely to win any of the other three, or at least definitely the Masters and the Open. Just given his game, like he hits it kind of wayward. The U.S. Open that he won at Chambers Bay was a funky. I mean, that golf course was playing sort of like an Open Championship with how firm it was. The PGA Championship just doesn't long. They're going to long, beefy golf courses. It doesn't feel like the best fit. Okay, second one. Is it better? Phil Jones, that was a very, very average Manchester United center back in the day. Phil Jones, is it better that Rory doesn't win that event before a major? Don't know why, but I think it is. Alan, you wrote about Rory. I'll let you take the stage here.
I think for a lot of players, it's probably true. You want to finish a nice, solid, T7, just cruise in on Sunday with some good form, but not the stress of, and winning a tournament takes a lot out of most golfers. I think Rory's been there, done that so many times that it doesn't really matter. I think winning a non-major for Rory is, it's like flossing his teeth at this point. So, but the bottom line is he's in good form and he's going to roar into Charlotte, ready to go. So if he wins, it turns up the volume just a little bit and it's fun and just adds that much more juice to the whole thing. But, I think in his particular case, it's not a big deal either way.
Well, I just think, I said this before, but it's like we've got two guys who've won in their last start who didn't play last week. You've got Bryson and Scotty, and then you've got two guys who are playing great, who contended but didn't win, and they did play last week. So I think it's perfect for all four of them. All right, next one. Does Liv need just Jay Gardner, does Liv need a win here to continue to be taken seriously competitively besides Bryson? I mean, really, I think with Bryson and Rahm and Brooks, those guys have proven it, before they were on Liv. I think the guy who would go along the longest way toward adding, some punch to Liv legitimacy-wise is Joaquin Niemann. He won again. So he's got 3 wins on Liv already this year. He's been the best player on Liv this year, and he's playing better since he went to Liv, at least compared to his peers. If he throws up another clunker, those narratives are going to continue. What do you think, Alan?
I agree. Niemann would be a big deal just because it would make him a threat going forward, whereas now it's this big question mark. Can he ever play well at a major? I think the narratives are pretty baked at this point.
I agree.
And if a Liv player wins a major, it's a nice boost, but it doesn't really do anything for the Liv tournaments week to week. No one talks about who wins or loses or what's happening out there. It's something for them to market, and it adds a little bit of energy, but it doesn't change the competitive structure on Liv Golf. So I think at this point, it'd be a nice thing for that tour, but I don't think it's a game changer.
I don't think so either. Part of that question was like, is Liv, continue to be taken seriously competitively? It's like, we're in a status quo. There's 15. We're 3 years on, right, from when this thing started. There's 15 Liv guys in the PGA this week. So that whole thing about they're not going to have access to majors didn't really turn out to be true, right? Like if you're a good player, maybe not the Masters, but the PGA Championship, you can qualify for the U.S. So it's happening. Like they're playing in majors. They've won 2 of them. Brooks won one. Bryson won one while playing on Liv. I just don't think anything's going to change. Okay, next one. This is a good one. I'm excited for this one. Bradley Smith, 328. Why do so many past champions blow off the PGA Championship dinner? They would never do that at Augusta. I'm going to hit the honesty button again. This is an all-time record for the honesty button. They got to stop. They got to stop doing that Champions dinner. It's just not it.
Make it a breakfast.
It's make it a breakfast. What I think they should do, though, and I didn't realize this with Xander's, he said he gives a gift to everybody. Maybe make it like the Champions gift.
Yeah. And
you can market that, right? Where it's like he gave everyone cigars. I would probably give everyone air tags because I lose everything. and air tags are not a thing that you want to buy for yourself, but when someone gets them for you, you're like, that's great. I'm happy I have these air tags, but it takes a little bit of swallowing your pride to actually buy them yourself. There's going to be 10 guys at the Champions dinner. It's also not the Masters where not all the past champions are invited. But it just feels like, you're sort of like the little sister of the Champions dinner.
No doubt. The counterpoint is for guys like Sean McKeel, Rich Beam. They never miss it. They love that.
Yeah,
daily.
It's their night.
Yeah, it's their night. And so I mean, to me, it's harmless. I think the whole Masters dinner is so overblown. Like, I really don't care what kind of food anyone's eating on Tuesday night the week of the Masters. It's like that there's way too much attention on that one. And I think the PGA is nice in that it's low key. It's like, hey, it's just some friends getting together for a meal, and you get a gift and you get a free dinner, and we'll take a little picture, and you get to see what crazy outfit John Daly's wearing. And I think it's harmless, and I like that no one makes a big deal out of it. So I don't object to the PGA dinner. I object to the Masters dinner because who fucking cares? They make it as such a big deal. But
yeah, that picture gets so much. That picture gets so much play every year. It's like, well, that guy looks a little older than he did the year before.
Like, how does Phil look in the photos?
Yeah. Oh my God, Phil's face. Let's put it on a meme about an insurance salesman. Oh.
Yeah.
It's the same thing every year. Okay, I'm gonna let you take this one, Alan, because for obvious reasons. Okay, next one. How is the PGA Tour doing financially? They've increased payouts to players by quite a bit over the last few years. Also, is there fatigue regarding all the increased purse? They need the PIF money relatively soon. Alan, update us.
Well, I mean, a story that has probably not got enough attention is that the PGA Tour has a very high retention rate on their sponsors. Like it seemed in the early days of the elevated events when they were asking for so much more, and, Honda left, and you had a couple Wells Fargo, some high profile defections. It was, and behind the scenes, there was a lot of tournament directors and sponsors who were kicking and screaming. Like, it felt like they were on the verge of losing a bunch, and that could have been catastrophic. But everyone loves to rip on Jay Monahan, and usually deserved. But he's gotten people to sign on the dotted line, and they've been able to keep the sponsorships. Maybe not always at the level they wanted. Some of these sponsors are not kicking in what's being asked fully, and the tours had to subsidize that. But that's what the SSG money is for. I mean, even though the first $1 billion went to players just to thank them for not going to live, that still left $500 million slush fund for these things, and they have access, line of credit to another $1.5 billion. So the tour is on firmer financial footing than it's probably ever been because they have the access to this money. And now it's 4 years away from the next TV contract. That's going to be, a huge bump. So the bottom line is the PGA Tour has weathered the storm of live golf, and in a lot of ways emerged a little stronger.
I've heard some murmurs that, there's a lot of billionaires who want to invest more money. They basically opened up professional golf to league, to ownership, like there is in other sports. And there's a limited quality of other sports teams that are for sale. And they're more expensive than it is to just put a piece into owning a piece of the PGA Tour. And another thing is, these CEOs don't play football. They play golf. And they want to, be in those rooms, and they want those memberships. And the PGA Tour opening up to private equity money is like a godsend for that. There's so many private equity guys who love golf, or, just rich people who love golf. I don't think that money is going to be the issue.
I think even just globally, though, like, golf is still becoming more and more popular. And brands that wouldn't normally advertise in golf or like sponsor things in golf are trying to get involved. So like, business is good. Like, we're plenty busy on our end. Like,
and it's another interesting point that he makes about Jay Monahan. And I've learned this from, just the last couple of years here at Pro Shop. Like, at that level, like, so much of your job is just like, can you get the guy to sign on the dotted line? Like, can you get the deal done? And like, Jay's job is, obviously way more public, but there's he doesn't do press conferences every day. Like, what he's doing every day is on the phone with these sponsors and going to play golf with them, and getting the deal done. All right, next one is basically, why do the pros keep score? I can read the whole thing, but it's basically, why do the pros keep score? I think it's a good question. There was a bit of a discussion about this when Jordan Spieth got DQ'd from Genesis last year when he signed an incorrect scorecard. There's an app. Even if you're playing like in a member guest, there's a good chance that you enter your scores on Golf Genius. So there's walking scores, with every group. And I think if they ever, they talk about instituting the shot clock like it's like the most difficult thing that would ever happen to be done. And also, one thing I should mention, pace of play with twosomes is like so much better. It's crazy. But yeah, I think you could have like a walking, I don't know if you call it a score / whatever. They're doing the score, and then if there's a shot clock, or they can enforce that. Like, I don't think it's that. There's think about how many volunteers there are, and yeah, you would need them to have a little bit more of golf know-how, but I'm fine with it. Are you going to say, Alan, that it's part of the game and it's tradition?
Obviously, but it's also, if you go to a B-list tour event on Thursday morning and you go out to the 14th hole, there's the idea that someone's always watching is not true. There are times when there's almost nobody out there. And ultimately, who do you trust more? Some 74-year-old volunteer with a bad back and Coke bottle glasses, or do you trust the players themselves? Like, yes, at the Masters, every shot is always being watched and it's on camera and whatever. But go to Punta Cana or some of these places, there's no fans, and ultimately, do you trust the players? Do you trust the volunteers? I would trust the players.
I'm still hung up on Coke bottle glasses. That just means like thick, like a Coke bottle.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know. I didn't even really hear the rest of his answer. Once he said that, I was like, my brain started spinning.
Do you think they should use part of the funds they have access to buy 200 devices for every caddy on tour that you can input a score digitally that goes back to the score, like a phone, like an app for their phone?
I mean, if it's sort of Alan's point, he's kind of winning me over a little bit. Like, no one's been DQ'd recently. Like, I mean, it doesn't really happen that often. It's like not that.
It's just such a bummer when it does.
Yeah, it is a big bummer when it happens.
I know, but it's avoidable. You have, in every group, you have multiple players and caddies. Like, ultimately, if you get DQ'd for a bad score, you're a moron.
Yeah. And they're definitely going to be like, are you sure? Like, yeah, it's like the only thing, it's like one of the very few jobs that you have.
I don't feel that much sympathy for the guys who mess up their card. I mean, it's not calculus. You just gotta add to 4 or 5. It's not a big deal, but
okay. Next one. The G-Man 23 asks, is the signature event model working 3 years in? I would say yes. It feels like we have these big events that are circled on the calendar. What happens is people look at the negative of the non-signature events and say, oh, the field is so bad. But like a week like last week, everyone's playing great golf course. The other thing I will say, there is some talk about, the field sizes being too small, and we should, Eric Van Rooyen was saying we should have bigger fields. And it reminded me of, to bring a soccer analogy in, if you pulled all of the English soccer teams and you said, should the Premier League get bigger? They would say yes, because it's in their interest. It's the same thing with the signature events. It's like, obviously the guys who aren't in them are going to want the fields to be bigger. That's how that's going to go. So I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think they should still have cuts. I think you can still have cuts, but I don't have an issue with the sort of smaller fields and making that top 50 into a really important number.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's always been 2 PGA tours. There's been the elite events, and then there's been the mediocre events, and it got sorted out pretty easily by playing status and purse size. The signature events just codified it. It just made it official. But there's always been different tiers, and so to me, the really big issue is there's just too many of the mediocre events. And if they trimmed the schedule by 6 or 8 tournaments and had a little more airtime, a little more downtime in the off season between tournaments, and then as there were fewer events, you would get more of the top players because they're working on something. They want to test out equipment. They're trying to reach certain bonuses. They're trying to make the Tour Championship for the Ryder Cup team, and with a tighter schedule, the fields would just improve. So I don't think the signature events are the problem. I think that the tour schedule remains too bloated, and if there was a little attrition, it'd lead to a better product.
Okay. Next one. Sahith Theegala is not having a good year. Forget the neck issue, says the runs 46250. What the hell happened to Sahith this year? He's down to number 119 in data golf. He's got no top 10s on the year. His best finish on his own ball is a T17, so just one top 25. And that's playing in a bunch of signature events with smaller fields, as we just talked about. From an X's and O's standpoint, he hits it everywhere. It's pretty simple. He's 132nd in strokes gained off the tee and 148th in strokes gained approach. He's 144th in driving accuracy, 150th in distance from the edge of the fairway, so there's wild misses. He's like 70th in distance and ball speed. So he's not super long, and he's very crooked right now. It's not a good combination. I don't think there's much more to add there. Next one, talking stick. We after the 9 holes heard around the world by Jake Knapp at Talking Stick, safe to say 1, Truist is polluted by his absence. 2, should he garner serious consideration for the Ryder Cup? This is a reference to the On the Bag that we did. Jake Knapp shot 5 under at Talking Stick. It was super fun to watch. Yeah, I think he's a guy who's probably should be in consideration for sponsor invites, just because his name kind of jumps off there in his golf swing. As far as Ryder Cup, he's not been consistent enough. Big game, right? Can make a lot of birdies, but I don't think he's quite reached that level. Do you, Alan?
I don't think he deserves a Ryder Cup spot unless something really changes this summer. I mean, he's, if the Ryder Cup was based on vibes, of course, no question. But, he just, when Knapp has been under the gun in the last 12 months, I mean, he's faltered a few times. And we all know the ultimate crucible is the Ryder Cup. I mean, he has to close some tournaments off. He has to become a little bit more of a killer. And then he could be a fixture on the Ryder Cup team. And he's got all the time in the world. Like, he's a young guy and he's still figuring it out. But no, the Ryder Cup is for closers, and he's not quite there.
All right, last one. This is from Laz, your boy Laz. He's becoming our boy. Should we go back to the days of the score being the score, irrespective of the construct of par? Example, Dow Finsterwald shoots 284 to win by 2. Alan, I'll let you take this one.
I mean, it's all semantics. Whoever has the lowest score wins, whether it's total strokes or according to par. So, I would actually it would be a cool experiment if a tournament had an event where there was just 18 holes of golf and there was no par for any of them. And you just have to figure it out. I can hear the
broadcast, the director being like, how the hell am I going to show the people who's leading this tournament?
Yeah, like that would be such like a mind bender. And, but ultimately, I mean, it's hard to care either way, right? Someone's going to have the lowest score, however you slice it. But, sure. I mean, you look at Augusta National and, the 5th hole is a lot harder than the 13th hole. One's a par 5 and one's a par 4. It's a fun conversation, but the score is a score, and I'm having trouble getting too worked up about
par is a social construct. There's two. I remember the 18th at Quail Hollow played 4.5 exactly last year. It was the same as 2 of the par 5s. So it's really just, and I have one take when it comes to like scoring and stuff. You shouldn't be eligible for the leaderboard at the U.S. Open until you've played 9 holes. Yeah. The guy who they have 1 under through 3 and the mid-am is leading and everyone's like, he's going to shoot 78. There's 18 holes out there. You should not be eligible for the U.S. Open leaderboard. And maybe the PGA if it's going to continue to be on hard golf courses until you've played 9 holes. Alan, I don't like the decor. I got to be honest. It's not your fault, but it's been bothering me all the time. But I'm looking forward to seeing you this week, my friend.
Yeah, me too. All right.
Good stuff.
Safe travel.
Yeah, Alan.
All right, see you. Okay, see you.
All right, our dog of the week this week is Chris Wood. And no, I'm not talking about the striker from New Zealand who plays for Nottingham Forest. And no, I'm not talking about the American actor and advocate for mental health awareness for Dublin, Ohio. I found that on Wikipedia this morning. I'm talking about the British touring professional. So Chris Wood, if you're a sicko like myself, you remember this name. He got to world number 22 back in the day, back when the world rankings meant something. He was tied for 3rd in the 2009 Open Championship, 3 wins on the European Tour, and won the BMW PGA Championship at Wentworth in 2016. Since then, I cannot tell you how bad it's gotten. Like as bad as you could ever imagine it getting for a professional golfer. And most of these guys, they just kind of fall off your radar. They don't just go start working at Quiznos. They grind and they keep playing and they go to smaller tours, and he's done it. Challenge Tour, Asian Tour, dropped outside the top 1,500 in the world. He finally had a good week this week. Nothing special, but a tied for 7th in the DP World Tour event in Turkey. This is his first top 10, I believe, of any kind since, I shit you not, 2018.
Wow.
It's a long time. He was so emotional afterward. Here's Chris Wood after a 64 on Sunday.
Yeah, it's been, since 2019, really. I just feel like I've been going through hell. I want to feel like I know my game's there, not just put a score on one day. And I genuinely feel like I'm starting to do that now. So never lost belief in myself. You obviously have days where it feels harder than some. I'm relying on invites this year, and my old manager KG rang me last Tuesday night and said about playing this week, and I'm ready. I'm practicing so well at home. Played with Ollie Wilson the first couple of days here, and he was asking how I'm doing it. How am I practicing at home to sort of be match ready, I suppose. So they're my secrets. I'm not giving them away.
Just a dog mentality to keep going. A guy, when you've been number 22 in the world, you've won big tournaments like that. I mean, this game will torture you. And he said it's been like hell for 6 years. That was 2019 was a long time ago.
You gotta love this game. People love this. That's what I take out of that clip is man, that's a guy that loves golf. He's willing to put himself personally through like 7 years of hell just to keep playing golf.
Glutton for punishment, you know. This game will do it to you. That's a dog mentality. We love to see it from Chris Wood. Hopefully he keeps going. We have some reactions. So people love this guy. Luke Donald, nice to see Chris play well this week, quietly working hard at home. You had Justin Rose saying great playing. Lori Cantor, a Southwest golfing legend who continues to inspire me. Tony Johnstone, who's a kind of a legendary announcer over there in the UK. Just really good stuff out of Chris Wood. He's our dog.
A shout from the Ryder Cup captain in a Ryder Cup year to boost your confidence a little bit.
Does this guy deserve?
Can I make it now?
Does this guy deserve Ryder Cup? Is he going to win a major? Is he going to complete the career Grand Slam?
4 tournaments, right, between now and then. Like, you know.
I think the question is, when is Chris Wood going to complete the career Grand Slam?
Who has a nicer swing, in your opinion, Chris Wood or Luke Donald?
Or Chris Kirk? Okay. We're going to go back to Quail Hollow. Our preview part 2 with Scott Fawcett, the back nine. This is where the winning happens. Enjoy our back nine preview of Quail Hollow. 10 long hole, straight hole. Send it.
Send it. 100%.
Yeah, nothing really fancy there. We move over to 11. Is this one of the ones where you kind of need to draw it?
11, it needs to draw pretty hard from right to left also. This is because you're not from the tees off the tee, those trees on the left. I'm pretty sure they are a pretty big blocker down there. It's just got Dikembe Mutombo over there on the left, just blocking anything that tries to fade. So this is one of the other ones that is, and again, I even say likely needs to be pretty hard from right to left also.
That front left bunker doesn't look very good.
No. But the other thing, too, is I'm always looking at the adjacent hazards. Like the fact that the front left bunker isn't good for the back right pin is kind of irrelevant, because that's not really we're worried about what's long right there. So you can see even to the front left pin, it's much, much better. That's just distance on why that one's bad.
What are we thinking about 12? Cutter?
12 is definitely left to right. Yeah, that especially. I don't know if that tee's new. I don't think that tee's new on the back right. At 456. It's funny, is I actually didn't even look. As we're going along here, I'm finding the contrarian. I'm trying to build a contrarian case against Rory, not for any other reason than, hey, here's some issues.
We've got an angle. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's some issues that why this is not the course he's historically won 4 times on. I doubt that's a new tee box, though. But if it is, that's definitely a loss for Rory, because now he's got to fade it from left to right for sure.
Scatter plot, the guys were pretty dialed with their distance going to that back right pin.
I imagine there's definitely some sort of a ridge there, and I actually would imagine it goes from front to back, which is odd. So see how in the middle of all the images, there's no shots.
Yeah, there's definitely something there.
There's definitely a strip there, and like I say, I'm going to bet it actually. I mean, it's so weird because now if you look at the front left to 1 or the front right to 1 or front left, it does look like they collect backwards to it, but it would be pretty interesting if people were able to get it over that ridge and back to that hole, to the back right pin, as well as they did, without that ridge being favorable. Like I'm actually really curious on that.
Maybe a good wind or something.
Yeah, if you just showed me the pin on the front pins, I'd be like, oh, clearly that slope goes from back to front. And then if you only showed me the pins in the 4th round, I would be like, clearly that slope goes from front to back.
Yeah, interesting. 13, par 3, middle of the green.
Yeah,
looks like there's a collection area, kind of short right.
Again, there's clearly, if you look at that front right pin, there's obviously a false front, since there's no golf shots there. And this is what I talk about all the time, like where distance control. If you force, I always say to tour players, you suck front hole locations, unless they're forced to. So like, obviously you don't want to be short on that front pin. They're capable of doing it. They're capable of centering their shot patterns past the hole. They just typically don't have the discipline to do it. And again, it kind of is surrendering on a hole like this. Oh my gosh, it's playing 169 today to that front pin. Got to get a look at birdie. Like, not really. Try to hit it about 20 feet past the pin. If you happen to mishit it, like some guys did, you'll get it close. And if not, yeah, you're going to probably be 2-putting from 30 or 40 feet long.
14. This is a good hole. I always like this hole. It's kind of drivable. You can run it on.
Yeah, it's definitely. Again, I really think they did a good job with with the short par 4s, with changing around how much you need to be going off the tee, left to right and right to left. This is one that historically you would think suits a right to left player better, just because the hazard's on the left. This is one where in my opinion, the left to right player just hammers it at the left edge of the green, swings out of their shoes at it. And again, the idea of eliminating one side of the course, we've got to eliminate the left side here. Like, obviously, that's why we're going to choose a target that's about 30, 32 yards right. And now we're just standing on a driving range, hitting at the left edge of the teaching center on a driving range. And we're just hitting our cuts. And so it's not that we've eliminated the left side of the course. It's that we've eliminated the double cross. That's really what we're trying to accomplish. And that's really, if you dig into any time you hear somebody say eliminating one side of the course, that's actually what they're saying. I mean, I got David Duval. I've got a great video of him in the app where he's like, I feel like as a right-handed player, it just feels great to be able to stand up and aim it down the left and know it's not going left. We've eliminated that side of the course. And I actually talked to him one time, and I was like, if you think about what you're saying there, you're actually saying not double crossing.
It's not curving left.
It's not curving left. You still have a geometric center of your shot pattern, and that's what we have to aim away from, a penalty hazard for sure in a situation like this. And again, the tour players, they're not idiots. They're pretty good at it. I mean, out of the first couple of rounds, only 6-7 guys hit it in the water left, and there's a bunch running right up the middle. They've clearly centered their shot pattern to the right. Again, these guys aren't idiots. About 30 yards.
Yeah. 15, you got this, the line on this almost in the rough.
I've actually got this on the wrong tee box. I just realized earlier, but it doesn't really matter. It's actually about 300 yards to those bunkers. There's another tee box about 60 yards further back that I screwed up on.
But still, you're aiming this very right side because those trees in the water.
Yeah, 100%. And those trees are right in the downward angle of your shots. And this, again, this is one that historically 4.585. This is one where you just hit the fairway and you're just going to have a just ton of birdies.
All right, now we hop into the Green Mile, the 3 hardest holes on the course. Talk to me about 16. It's just long, man.
And this is one Rory's talking about. It plays a little bit downhill. Obviously, we're going down towards a lake, and so it's about 310 to cover on the right. So when we're a guy like Rory, just step up and smash it, and you can see the length of some of the longer tee shots compared to the ones where people have laid back. Anyone who drops back, like I want to take that bunker out of play, it's just a really bad idea. Here we're playing at 4.283, so it's a little bit over par. A decent amount over par. Again, circling back to when I said, a good hard hole usually plays about 0.3 over par. This is a good hard hole, but just even if you can't carry that bunker, you still should be kind of challenging that bunker, because by not, you're just kind of surrendering.
It really does. And the more I'm looking at it, it feels like a Rory Bryson type of week, being able to fly it super far has a big advantage at this golf course.
Huge advantage.
All right. 17, water everywhere.
Water everywhere. It's interesting because they've got it at 223. I believe that's a new tee box, and clearly for the tour event, they're playing it up a lot further, especially in the first 2 rounds, just trying to get humans around this golf course. It's just a dead center of the green. If it's all the way back at 223, it'll probably be your target should be right-ish center of the green, slightly right of center. This gets back to the idea of center of the green is just not good enough information. This hole, it should probably be a little bit right of center of the green, because scoring average is clearly, here it is, 3.309. The day that it played 211 2 years ago, scoring average is 3.441 with 0 birdies. Wow, you don't see that very often.
0 birdies.
You could have had a skin on tour. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
You do not see that very often.
All right, we bring it home. 18, quite the finisher, right at 4.5, right up your alley.
And that 310 number to cover the right bunker. It's just Rory's dead on when he says this is, again, if you bomb it, I'm not going to say I'm pretty agnostic on which shape is better on this course. Obviously, I've said that a number of times, but I'm definitely not agnostic on carrying at 315.
Yeah, exactly. Wyndham Clark won here a couple of years ago, and he's another guy who sends it.
Xander's finished second last year. It's so fun. If there's one thing that I do say all the time, it's that the fact that we needed like a mountain of data to illustrate hitting the ball as far as you can is a good idea.
Sometimes you need numbers to support it. All right. A great breakdown. We're going to finish with our question of the week presented by Certified Financial Planner Professionals. You talked about this, Scott, And so I'm interested to hear you kind of summarize it. I was really interested when you talked about like annualizing returns. So if we had to distill this all down, what's the single most important question a golfer should ask themselves before choosing a target? And how does this question, small question, compound and change their long-term results?
Great question, honestly. If there's one thing that even with Tiger, and you hear him say this all the time, but if you actually pick into what it means, on a tee shots, just send it. I mean, again, we want 65 yards, blah, 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 blah. I hate making generic statements like that. But the historical question for approach shot strategy is, where's the place to miss it? And this isn't semantics either. I don't think that's the right question. And again, you hear Tiger say it all the time. The real question of course management is, how much do I not want to be short-sighted? So by understanding we've got this shotgun blast shot pattern, I used to kind of think like Tiger mid-swing would be like, oh, it doesn't feel good, I'm going to miss it in the right spot. Well, if that were the case, you'd be like, well, I'm just going to fix my swing and hit it where I'm trying to.
Yeah, I'm just going to hit it 2 feet every time.
Yeah, your shot pattern is not like this hourglass that involves hitting it where you're trying to or missing in the right spot. We've got a shotgun blast. And so we need to center that away from the hole based on how much I don't want to be short-sighted. And that kind of by definition then, which is why I say it's almost semantics, will put the other side of your shot pattern in the place to miss it. But what's critical once you've chosen proper targets, one of the most important factors in how hard the chip shot is how far are you off the green relative to the pin. So you've got this 1-to-1 ratio. If the pin's 5 yards off the green, 5 yards on the green, and you're less than 5 yards off the green, it's kind of a chip shot. But once you start getting to 7 and 8 yards off the green and the pin is 5 yards on the green, now you're starting to have to introduce trajectory, flop shots, and the shot just very quickly becomes, I'm almost going to say exponentially harder, but it really quickly becomes harder. So there's no doubt about it. The question to ask yourself is kind of where's the spot to miss it? But it's really, how much do I not want to be short-sighted? And that should drive the answer where you're then aiming.
And then you, like you said, these little decisions, right? It might only be you're gaining 1/10 of a shot with a decision, but like you said, 72 holes.
Well, if somebody says, hey, I've got an investment for you that's going to earn you 10%, you want in. I don't know. Is that in a week? Is that in 10 years? That's when I say you've got to annualize that return. Oh, in a year? Yeah, I'll give you all the money I've got for 10%. But now we got to take in risk and blah, blah, blah. Looking at something that is a 0.05 even does not even feel like that big of a decision. But if we made that same quality of decision 18 times, it's 0.9 shots. That's huge. I mean, yeah. The one other thing that I kind of wanted to touch on was last year, Rory gained 4.982 shots per round. 1.5 off the tee, 1.5 on approach, 0.82 on chipping, and 1.0 putting. Like, it was just solid golf. That's a good way to win, but typically you're going to really be weighted in one of the categories. He just played solid all around, which is why he won by 5. Last week, Scotty gained 5.7 total, so 0.7 shots more per round. Scotty gained 3.2 shots on his approach shots last week. Scotty gained more on his approach shots alone than Rory did on his tee shots and approach shots combined last year in a 5-shot win. Giving context to how amazing Scotty's was last year, but like, Rory's just solid. And if he and Scotty play well, they're kind of the same human. It should be. Again, I know we're all kind of getting excited about all these majors so far this year. First one delivered, in my opinion. And this is just a good golf course. It's like horses for courses. Tiger always won at Torrey and Firestone. And this is like, yeah, they're good courses. They're kind of the best player.
Right. Good test.
This is just a good golf course. Like, you're not going to fake it around this thing.
Yeah.
You're going to need to score on the scoreable holes, and you're going to need to not screw up the hard ones. I know that sounds like, oh, duh, great advice, but there's actually something in that.
Asking the right question can greatly impact your future on the golf course, especially also when it comes to your finances. So if you're looking for a financial advisor you can trust, certified financial planner professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's got to be a CFP. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. We're all going to be smarter when we're watching the action this weekend, and we appreciate it as always.
Always. Thank you.
All right, we're going to finish. What a show. Meaty show. Good show.
It's like there's a major this week.
Really good show. With Turks from the Gallery. The Met Gala was this week. You're a fashion guy.
Yeah.
let's pull up our first chirp.
Yeah, what is your chirp?
It's from, I think it's from Claire Rogers. Such a fan of Melbourne's spring line.
That's a good tweet from Claire.
It's a good tweet. Here's my thing with the Met. I feel like the only criteria is what can I wear that's as like not normal as possible.
Well, there is a
like how can I just be as outrageous as I possibly can?
There's a theme. They give you a theme.
What's the
every
theme
year.
this year?
It was,
Outrageousness?
Superfine, the art of black tailoring. I think I botched that, but it was a cool theme. It's
what
art, man.
What about this is about tailoring?
Well, we would have to get into it for a long time, but they're talking about like black dandyism and like it's you have to be into fashion to really like appreciate it, I think.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to separate like clothing from art in these scenarios. Like capital F fashion is art, and you and I deciding what we're taking out of our closet in the morning is style, and they're very different things.
Okay, style versus fashion.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Never thought about that. Okay, next one. I thought a lot more about this. Keith Mitchell scoring average.
Yeah, let's get back to golf.
In 2000, Tiger Woods had a round one scoring average from golfing Brock of 68.17, more than a full stroke behind 2025 Keith Mitchell. Keith Mitchell's been the best player in the world this year on Thursdays. He shot 61, I believe, this week on Thursday. I think it was 61, 67, 71, 71. That's been the theme. So if you're looking for a first-round leader for the PGA Championship, Keith Mitchell.
Can he be on the U.S. Open leaderboard even if he's on the front nine because we know he's a Thursday?
No, absolutely not. 9 holes. That's a rule. Okay, next one. This is from Ron Kloss. Out of the 18 golfers that have signed with LIV and played in at least 3 majors since joining, 14 have performed worse on average in major events compared to their 3-year strokes gained average per round in majors before joining. That's a lot of words to say. Most guys have gotten worse in majors. The only 3 who have not is Neiman, who's been consistent. Tyrrell Hatton's gotten better, and Bryson's gotten better. But Rahm's gotten worse, Koepka's gotten worse, DJ's gotten worse, Cam Smith's gotten worse, Oosthuizen's gotten worse, Bubba Watson's gotten worse, Patrick Reed has gotten worse. Those are just numbers. This is a whole nother set of numbers that I have not looked at, but I would imagine it tells a similar story. Most of the guys have not been as good in majors. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Maybe they're just getting older. I don't know what it is, but those are numbers. Lucas Glover is becoming a very outspoken voice on a lot of matters in the world of golf. This is from Fried Egg. Lucas Glover is a man of his word when it comes to pace of play. He and Wyndham Clark completed their round at Philadelphia Cricket in 2 hours and 58 minutes. The pace, we've talked about it. The twosomes makes a huge difference. It's been running along. And then last but not least, I felt like we needed a shout out for this trophy, the Truist Championship trophy.
Oh hell yeah!
It's a one-off. It's a one-off, right? This tournament's going back to Quail Hollow. They're not going to keep the cricket paddle. That'll stay in Seb Straka's trophy cabinet forever, and that's an amazing trophy.
That just adds to his this banner week that he's on, as he gets that trophy, and who knows when someone will ever get that.
Yeah, who knows? They're never going to have a cricket paddle again. Okay, we're going to finish with our clip of the week. We're going to Charlotte. Ben and I are both going to Charlotte. We're actually literally getting in the car and going to the airport right after this. If you guys enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe. Follow along. Andy's going to yell at me if I don't promote this. We're going live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday on this channel. Wednesday, we're going to do a little Dan and Ben and friends. We're going to have some media people. We're going to have some people on the grounds. We're going to go through the press conferences, analyze what we're seeing. Thursday, round 1 recap. Friday, round 2 recap. Saturday, round 3 recap. And we'll be back following Monday. I'm going to leave you with a clip of the week. This guy was almost dog of the week because he is a canine. It's a dog, but I just love dogs. I love dogs. I love dogs, and I love golf. So and that's why my show is called Dog, and it's about golf.
This dog.
And I love this. I love this dog. All right, enjoy, guys. See you next week.
Get those beers up here. That's a good boy. What are you bringing us? What are you bringing us? Sit.
What do you got there, Buster?
All right, come here. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. That's a good boy. Oh, we got plenty. Stock. All right, we go.